Yo, Snapchat, let's discuss one of my favorite ideas, one of my kind of lifelong missions, building a peer-to-peer economy, and I'll explain what that means. So yesterday I was at a conference in Sydney on innovation in real estate, and it's kind of interesting. Everyone thinks that they're going to be okay, technology's going to change, but they'll still be important in the future. Now, real estate agencies are kind of an interesting one. So the sales agents, I think they'll still be around because buying a house is such a huge investment, such an emotional decision. You need that middle person, but the others won't. So something like property management and rentals, I think could just be automated on a global scale with something like an Airbnb on a global avenue, and that and admin assistance and just the whole business side. But the interesting thing here is that 80% of our economy, 80% of our workforce is all service-based, and so all other industries must be having the exact same discussion, these exact same conferences about innovation. And I wouldn't be surprised if each of those conferences were kind of like mirror copies of the real estate one I went to. You know, people kind of like explaining the disruption that's coming in the technology, but saying, you know, we'll be all right if we just adopt it, we'll be fine. And so from all the talks and panels you hear was like, you know, we need to build trust, it's all about communication, it's all about serving the customer, stepping into the consumer, the customer's shoes, and really just like, you know, providing them a decent. And so whenever I spend a whole day at a conference, my brain is constantly thinking about, you know, okay, what new startup idea, what thing can I do way better than anyone else is doing here? And it always comes back to this one idea though. If 80% of the economy is based in the service sector, then if you look at the fundamentals of that, it's really about communication as the medium between two people helping solve each other's problems. Disregard all the business crap. And so this is why I want to build a peer-to-peer economy where everyone becomes their own contractor. Everyone with certain skills matched to certain tasks anywhere in the global human hive mind. I guess it's kind of like the Elon Musk approach to the service sector, looking at the fundamentals where it's communication, rather than building these extra tools that are just solving a small part of the entire chain of some business process. So everyone seems to tackle innovation in the same way. They just basically, you know, look at the entire business process that they're used to in their industry, and they make one product, one tool to solve that one problem. This way you end up with a dozen CRMs. And to me, this is hilariously evident in the real estate industry, and I'm sure it applies to every other industry. So you end up with a dozen CRMs all doing the same thing. You end up with, you know, a dozen listing sites that all look exactly the same and do the same thing. So this peer-to-peer economy, how would it work? So you put everyone on the same messaging platform, and you know their skills, and they have varied skills, and all you're doing is matching people with problems to people with those skills. Kind of like Freelancer and Upwork, but without exploiting third world workers for the lowest possible pay ever, those evil fuckers, and without the whole bidding process. So let's just give an example. Say you need a website build. So you might need a back-end developer, a front-end developer, and a graphic designer, and maybe a project manager. So you just put that into the messaging system, and these people instantly come. The system would be platform independent and kind of decentralized. So it brings these people together. They may never have met each other before, but they come together and they can actually work really well on that high-level task. If you can nail a platform like that, you don't need marketing, you don't need advertising, you don't need offices, you don't need, you know, companies, you don't need logos, you don't need pretty much any small to medium enterprise at all. I feel like the only reason we have all those things today is simply a routing problem. I mean, people have problems that they then have to like talk to their friends and go and find a company that can solve that problem. It's a big chore, it's a big effort. It's no, yeah. I mean, essentially, customers are essentially the problem. They have a problem, so they go seek a company. And the companies are really just a collection of people who have the skills to solve that problem. So why not make that gap shorter? With something like that, I think you end up with this kind of like self-aware global entity that is basically routing people's problems to people with skills who have solutions to solve those, which is the workforce. And you might ask, well, how do you get ahead in this world? Like, you know, how do you become the capitalist and make shitloads of money? Well, you can make back-end tools and AIs to help people automate their tasks, or you can just be a network creator. And with this system, you're basically like reworking the economic structure of the global society, which actually puts people first, because you're basically focusing on communication between people and technology second. And since everyone is their own contractor and it's a pure peer-to-peer economy, it makes the entire workforce much more agile, and it brings in that whole jobs RPG thing where you have multiple skills and tasks to match to those multiple skills. So anyway, this won't happen overnight, but this is a vision of the world I really, really desperately want to pull forth to meet the president. I think it'd be amazing and just so fucking epic, and it's the way the world should work.